So, you're looking for a small gaming laptop. Well, the Acer Nitro 14 is one of the cheapest 14-inch gaming laptops, while the Zephyrus G14 is probably the best premium 14-inch gaming laptop. So is it better to budget a bit by going with the cheaper option? Or should you spend that little bit extra more to get the best of the best? Well, in today's video, we'll be comparing the ins and outs of these two in full detail to help you make the right choice. So let's get right into it. And if you enjoy these type of videos, please like and subscribe. Both of these laptops look quite professional from the outside. The Nitro 14 has a black finish, but it has this rainbowy reflective Nitro logo on the back. While the Zephyrus G14 has a fully gray body with this LED slash on the back. I think both of them could pass as non-gaming laptops, but the Nitro 14 is quite a bit thicker than the Zephyrus, so that might give it away. There's a massive difference in their build qualities though. You know what else is massive? The Nitro 14 has a full plastic body, which does mean it creaks a bit in certain places. While the Zephyrus has a full aluminum body, which means it feels very sturdy. This also means that the Zephyrus can definitely survive a fall better than the Nitro. But despite having a full metal body, it's actually lighter than the Nitro. At just 1.50 kilograms, it's a lot more of a portable package. Their specifications are pretty similar though. Both of these laptops are equipped with their highest possible specs, and these are some fast parts. The Zephyrus maxes out at an RTX 4070 though, while the Nitro only goes up to an RTX 4060. However, the Nitro actually has more power available for its GPU, so it'll be interesting to see how a higher power RTX 4060 compares to a lower power RTX 4070. Both of these laptops actually have an identical port selection. They are divided differently, and the Nitro has the HDMI port on the right side for some reason, but having this many types of ports on such small laptops is just awesome to see. The Zephyrus does have a more compact and sleeker looking charger than the Nitro though. The Nitro uses a generic barrel plug connector, while the Zephyrus uses Asus's own proprietary connector, which is quite nice. Both of them can charge through USB-C though, which is very handy. These two laptops have great keyboards. The Zephyrus has more clicky keys, while the Nitro's keys are a bit more thumpy. The keys on the Zephyrus are better balanced though. The Nitro's keys are a bit wobbly. They both have RGB backlights, which looks great. But the Zephyrus G14 only has one zone for its entire keyboard, while the Nitro has 3 RGB zones, which means it allows for some more complex effects and more fluid lighting. The trackpads are very different. From the outside they look pretty similar, right? Except that the one on the Zephyrus is a bit larger. And the Zephyrus does have a glass trackpad, which feels nicer than the plastic one on the Nitro. But this is what the one on the Zephyrus sounds like. And this is what the Nitro's trackpad sounds like. Yeah, it sounds like you're molesting a bag of oatmeal, and that's what it feels like as well. This trackpad is horrible. Their displays are also very different. The Zephyrus G14 has a 3K OLED display, while the Nitro has a Full HD IPS display. And these screens are night and day. Quite literally, the Nitro only goes up to 300 nits of brightness, which is not very high, while the Zephyrus goes up to 500 nits. The Zephyrus' display is also a lot sharper than the one on the Nitro due to its higher resolution. And while the Nitro does have a pretty okay IPS display, it doesn't even come close to the Zephyrus G14's OLED display. The G14 has infinite contrast, vibrant colors, and perfect pitch blacks. The Nitro has, well, some of that. Since the G14 has OLED, it also doesn't suffer from panel bleeding like the Nitro does. The Zephyrus' display does wobble a bit more than on the Nitro though. But then again, it feels more premium since it's metal versus plastic. Now let's compare their speakers. The Nitro has pretty okay speakers for its price. But it gets absolutely destroyed by the Zephyrus. The Zephyrus has more bass, clearer sound, and a way wider soundstage. It also gets a lot louder. The Zephyrus has top-firing speakers on the sides and subwoofers on the bottom, while the Nitro only has bottom-firing speakers. I mean folks, it's not even close here. The Zephyrus G14 has the better speakers. Now here's a quick webcam and microphone test.
This is a microphone audio test for the Acer Nitro 14. This is a microphone audio test for the Asus ROG Zephyrus G14.
Now let's run some benchmarks to see how they compare in terms of performance. The Ryzen 7 in the Nitro 14 actually performs very similar to the Ryzen 9 in the Zephyrus G14. In 3D Mark TimeSpy, they got very close though. It's quite impressive how well that 110 watt RTX 4060 does compared to a lower wattage RTX 4070. And now let's see how they compare in some games.
You motherfucker, you man. Huh?
Come on, man.
Come on, man. Come on, man. What's that going on?
That's nice to join into.
Request approved. Reinforcement.
Mate, I fucking just dropped into the shit show. Oh my god! I literally dropped onto one of them fucking tanks, oh man.
Sending in an eagle! Dat bestaat helemaal niet. Ik weet niet als een hond die verdrinkt.
So in games, they actually performed pretty similarly. The Zephyrus G14 was on top most of the time, but for some reason the Nitro actually won in CS2. I think this might be because of the tighter power limits on the Zephyrus G14. Because the Nitro 14 has so much power to play with, I think it has more headroom for the CPU and GPU. Meanwhile, the Zephyrus G14 has less wattage to work with, so the CPU and GPU have to fight more for that power. But a 90 watt RTX 4070 is still faster than a 110 watt RTX 4060, so it's still faster in most games. But for such a cheap laptop, the Nitro 14 did very well. In battery life, the Zephyrus G14 is quite a bit better though. To test their battery life, I play a YouTube video on both of them with their displays at max brightness, so 300 nits for the Nitro and 500 nits for the Zephyrus, with their refresh rates at 60 Hz and with their dedicated GPUs disabled. The Nitro 14 lasted 7 hours and 8 minutes, while the Zephyrus G14 lasted quite a bit longer at 9 hours and 47 minutes. But if you were to put the Zephyrus G14 at the same brightness as the Nitro 14, so 300 nits, I think it could last even longer. The Nitro definitely has a more beefy cooling system though, and you can really hear that. But that does mean it stays a bit cooler than the Zephyrus. While the Nitro's CPU stayed around 85 degrees and its GPU around 80 degrees while gaming, the Zephyrus could reach up to 95 degrees on its CPU and 85 on its GPU. But it does perform better with less noise output, so you can choose for yourself which one is better here. They're both identical in terms of upgradeability though. They both have a single M.2 SSD slot, which means you could upgrade the SSD, but you have to replace the current one in there. And they both also have upgradable Wi-Fi cards. Unfortunately, none of them have upgradable RAM, so you're stuck with however much you bought them with. But the biggest difference is in their pricing. The Acer Nitro can be found for around $1,000, while the Zephyrus is a bit more expensive, starting at $1,400 depending on the model. However, it can frequently be found on sales since the new 2025 model is right around the corner. So stay vigilant and try to catch some nice deals on these two. So, conclusion time. Which one of these two is the better deal? I'd have to easily go with the Zephyrus G14 here. It has better build quality, a way better display, way better speakers, it's faster in pretty much every situation, and it's only $400 more expensive. I would only go with the Nitro 14 if you're on an extremely tight budget, but then I would still tell you to just save up some money and get the Zephyrus G14 instead. Because I'm pretty sure this laptop will last you a lot longer as well. Keep in mind, a laptop is a long-term investment, so it's worth it in the long run to spend a little more. Now let me give a huge shout out to my only YouTube members, Soundwive, I hope I'm saying that right. YouTube members get early access to all my videos and get a free shout out at the end of them. So check it out if you're interested, as it really supports me to make these videos. And that's pretty much it for today, folks. I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye.
Тут даже нихуя.
Блять,